these are the materials needed for this project. You're going to need Cover Story Posh Twist, which is a weight 5 yarn. I have 4 different colors that I use for this project, A, B, C, and D. This is called bok choy, whipped cream, rose hip, and blueberry smoothies. You'll also need a K 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, scissors, stitch markers, tapestry needle, and then Chanel stems, otherwise known as pipe cleaners. And this is optional. Check your hook size for each gauge and adjust accordingly in the pattern to meet both gauges listed. You will be working the majority of the baskets in a continuous round, so use a stitch marker to mark the beginning of each round. The base of the baskets are made first, and then the main body of the basket. To switch colors, stop the last stitch in the old color with 2 loops on your hook, yarn over with the new color, and pull through both loops to complete the stitch unless otherwise stated. Crochet over the yarn not in use when 2 colors are used in a round by rolling the unused color behind and slightly below to help hide the show through. Optional Chanel stems or pipe cleaners are used for stability of the baskets and handles. 2 small baskets of C and 2 small baskets of D can be made with 1 ball of each color. To follow along with this video tutorial, you really need the written pattern up next to you. So there are a few ways you can get this pattern. You can get the free pattern on my blog. You can purchase the printable ad-free version with 18 additional picture aids in my shops. Or you can purchase the Lion Brand yarn kit that comes with all the yarn needed to make this pattern, as well as the premium PDF. To begin, we're going to start with color A, and we're going to make a magic ring. To make a magic ring, you're going to hold the yarn in your left hand, wrap it around 3 fingers so that the tail is underneath the working yarn, and you're going to make an X. You'll take your crochet hook and go under that first side of the X, grab the second side of the X, pull it up so that you have a loop on your hook, slide it off your fingers so it looks like this, pinching that X, chain 1, and now we're going to start working into this loop that we created, and we're going to do 6 single crochets into this loop. So inserting my hook into that loop, draw up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 single crochet. And then we have another one, 2, going back into that same loop there, 3, going back into the same loop, 4, 5, and 6. Now this big loop that we have, we need to pull the tail to cinch it up and close the magic ring. One thing to be careful though with this Posh Twist yarn is that it can be fragile, and so you need to gently pull and be careful not to pull too hard, because with this velvety yarn it can break easily. Now we're ready to do round 2. So our first stitch that we're going to work into is right here. This is the first single crochet that we made, and if you have trouble finding it, you can count back 6 stitches to see it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the first one that we made right here. So to begin, we're going to work 2 single crochets into that same first stitch. So there's 1, and then going back into the same stitch, there's 2. And with the base of the basket, you're going to be working in a continuous round. And so we need to mark that first stitch we made. So there's the first single crochet and the second single crochet. So mark that first stitch there. Going into the next stitch, 2 single crochets again. 1, 2, going into the next stitch, 1, 2, again, 1, 2, 1, 2, and our last stitch before we reach the beginning of round marker, and so we're going to do 2 single crochets into that stitch. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 stitches in that round, and so we've done it correctly. For round 3, we're going to take that beginning of round marker out and do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So there's 1, and then I'm going to mark that first stitch with the beginning of round marker. Going back into that same stitch, another single crochet. Now the repeat for this pattern is 2 single crochets into the same stitch and then single crochet 1. So again, the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then the next stitch, just 1. So that's the repeat for round 3. So I'm going to do that all the way around. And this round, you will have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. I have 2 stitches left. So single crochet 2 into that first stitch, and then the last stitch is just single crochet 1. So you can see the base taking shape now. The next round, round 4, is 2 single crochets into the same stitch and then single crochet 1 in the next 2 stitches. And that's how the pattern progresses throughout the base, by how many you do 1 stitch in the next stitch. So just continue on with the base and we will meet back up for the grass portion, round 1. I finished the base and let's do round 1 of the grass together. So I removed my beginning of round marker and now we are going to do 1 single crochet back loop only. So while looking at the next stitch that's right here, this stitch that's closest to us is the front loop, and this stitch that's further away from us is the back loop. So we're going to be doing the back loop only for this round. So I insert my hook under the back loop only and do a single crochet. And remember to mark the beginning of your round. So again, let me show you what that looks like. Inserting your hook under the back loop only and single crocheting. Again, under the back loop only, single crochet. So you're going to do that all the way around for round 1 of the grass, and then we're going to do round 2 together so I can show you how to do the waistcoat stitch. But the reason why we're doing back loop only is because this is helping turn our basket so that we start working vertically up. This is the base, and so this helps curve it to start building up for the basket. So let's meet back up for round 2. You can see how the basket is curving up because it's naturally wanting to do that because of the single crochet back loop only. And now let's do the waistcoat stitch together. So removing this beginning of round marker, I'm going to do this first stitch without showing you because it's hard to see on this first stitch, and then let me show you what the waistcoat, where you put the waistcoat stitch. Okay, so now it's easier to see on this next stitch. You can see the next stitch, normally we would go right here, but what we're going to do, this is the stitch right here, the posts of the stitch. You're going to go in between the legs, in between the posts. That's where you're going to put your hook. So inserting your hook in between the posts, you're going to draw up a loop and then single crochet like you normally would. So it's basically a single crochet, you're just placing your hook in a different spot. And the reason why I like using this for baskets is because since it's in between the posts and not sitting on top of the stitch, it becomes a really dense fabric and very sturdy for baskets. So the sturdier you, or the tighter or sturdier you make this, the sturdier your basket will be. So create an even tension with this as you're doing the waistcoat stitch all the way around for round 2. When you get to round 3, it's the same thing. You're just going to insert your hook into the legs of that waistcoat stitch, like that. So I'm going to continue doing round 2 and 3 off camera, and then let's do round 4 together. For round 4, we're going to start creating the grass of the basket, which is one of my favorite stitches for just how big of an impact it is. So normally we would work this way. We're going to turn our work and work back on the stitches we just barely made. And because the reason being is because the loop stitch is made, the loop comes out this way. And so if we worked normally, you wouldn't be able to see the loop because it would be on the inside of the basket. So we need to work that way. So you can see my strand is coming from the inside. I need it to come from the top. So I move the strand like that. To do the loop stitch, you begin by inserting your hook into the stitch. And if you hold your yarn differently than this, you're going to need to hold so that the yarn comes over your pointer finger for this stitch. So then you're going to, instead of yarning under like this, how you normally do, you're going to go over that strand, ignore that strand closest to you, and you're going to pick up the strand hidden back here, this strand right here. And then you're going to pull it through the stitch, drop that loop off your finger and pinch it with your middle finger, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on your hook. And you can see we have 1 loop stitch created. For this stitch, you're going to try to create the loops the same length. It is kind of forgiving with this yarn, and it also because we're going to be doing another round of loop stitches, so it does kind of hide it, so don't be too concerned about that, but we are going to try to make it as close as we can. So going into the next stitch, you're going to go over, grab that yarn strand further away from you, pull it through so that you have 2 loops on your hook, drop the loop off your pointer finger, pinch it with your middle finger so that it doesn't come undone, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, going into that next stitch, you're going to ignore this strand on your pointer finger and you're going to grab that strand behind it, pull it through the stitch, drop the loop off of your pointer finger, pinch it down, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is what it's looking like. You can straighten it out and make it so that it doesn't twist. I might have to get water to do that with that, but this is what it's looking like. Like I said, once you get a full round of it and then the other loop stitch round, you won't see each individual loop as much. So this creates a nice texture. It looks kind of like grass, which is what we want for our Easter basket. So let's do it one more time together. Insert your hook, ignore that first strand, grab that strand behind it, drop the loop off, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to do this all the way around for round 4. And then we're going to repeat rounds 2 through 4 again. So you're going to do 2 rounds of wainscot stitching, and then you're going to do another round of the loop stitch. But let's meet back up at the end of round 7 so I can show you how to switch colors. I have 1 more stitch of loop stitch to do left in round 7. So I want to show you how to do this one just because we're going to be switching colors a little bit differently. So I'm just doing my loop stitch like normal and then pinching that loop, completing the stitch fully. And now we need a slip stitch to join, but I need to change to white. I need to change to color B. And so I'm going to insert my hook into that first stitch there, and then I'm going to yarn over in B. And that completes the stitch in that round. I'm going to give the tails a tug, turn, work. We're ready to do round 1 of the flowers. Just to get us started on this, I wanted to show you guys to work a waistcoat stitch in the loop stitches. You separate the 2 loops, and then you can see this is the post. These are the posts right there and there. So you're just going to insert your hook in that spot of the post. So let me do that with you. For this first stitch, it's right here that you insert your hook to do the first waistcoat stitch. And then I'm going to move my beginning around marker up, even though it's going to be very obvious since it's a new color. And so then you separate the loop stitches, and you can see right there, this is where I will insert my hook for that post stitch or for the waistcoat stitch. And again, right here. And so I'm just going to work 2 rounds of waistcoat stitch, and then let's meet back up for round 3 when we start carrying the colors. I'm on round 3 of the flowers portion. I've already waistcoated, done that stitch 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 1 more I need to do. And then let's switch colors. So I pause when I have 2 loops on my hook. I grab my new color, and then I finish the stitch with my new color. And that's how you're going to change colors for the following sections. But now let's make our little stems. So you're going to go into the next stitch and do a waistcoat stitch, and then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going back into that same stitch, you're going to do a waistcoat stitch. And so that is one side of the tulip leaf. And then you're going to chain 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, back into that same space, that same stitch, waistcoat stitch, and then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back into that same stitch, and then pause when you have 2 loops on your hook because you're going to change back to the white. All right, so let's take a look at this together. So we have the other side of the leaf right here, and then we have the stem and then the other leaf. So now we're going to do 7 waistcoat stitches again and then do our tulip stems. So I am holding green on the back of these stitches here, and I am going to single crochet or waistcoat stitch over them so that it will be, the green will be over here when I need it and I don't have as many ends to weave in. So again, I'm not holding it up here completely on top of the stitch, I'm rolling it back behind and then crocheting over it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to pause when I have 2 loops on my hook, and then my green is right here ready for me to pick up since I crocheted over it, and then I complete that stitch there. So now I'm going to do these tulip stems with you one last time. So you begin by doing 1 waistcoat stitch, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back into that same stitch, waistcoat stitch. Now we chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, back into that same stitch, and we waistcoat stitch. Now we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back into that same stitch, waistcoat stitch, but we pause when we have 2 loops on our hook because we pick up our white and complete the stitch. And again, I have my green here ready to crochet over it so that it will be ready for when I need to pick it up again. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. And then, oh, I need to complete it with my green for that 7th stitch there. So that is how you do this round. So let's meet back up on round 6 and we'll do that together. For round 6, we're going to be tacking the leaves part of the tulip down so it doesn't curl forward. So we're going to be catching it so that it stays up. To begin, we're going to waistcoat 1. I'll put this back. And then we're going to catch this first leaf here. So it says we need to count to the 3rd chain, which is this one right here. And then I'm going to insert my hook from back to front through it. And then I'm going to go into the 4th chain from front to back. And then I will waistcoat stitch. And you can see now how this is nicely laying flat there. And then we waistcoat stitch 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we'll do it again with this one. So 1, 2, 3. This is where we're going to put our hook from back to front through that chain. And then we're going to do it through the 4th chain from front to back. And then insert our hook into that waistcoat stitch and do 1 waistcoat stitch. Okay, then we do 3 waistcoat stitches. 1, 2, 3. Now this side of the leaf, going from back to front and then front to back. Insert our hook to waistcoat stitch. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So you can see how it's lying flat and how the leaves are opened. So that's how we want it to be. So you're going to do that all the way around for this round 6. And then round 7 is just waistcoat 1 all around, 1 in each stitch around. And then let's meet back up for round 8. For round 8, I've already done 6 waistcoat stitches. Now I'm going to do my 7th, switch to C to complete my 7th stitch. And now I'm ready to do 4 half double crochets into the same stitch to create the little flower bud, but I need to catch this chain 6 loop. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the chain 6 loop, go into the stitch to do a half double crochet, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and do that 3 more times. So that's 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to pause with the 3 loops on my hook, pick up B, and then complete the stitch with B. Now I need to carry the pink along until I get to here, so I'm going to crochet over it. So holding it on the back of these stitches here, I'm going to waistcoat 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's my 7th. I'm going to pause and then pick up the pink to complete that 7th stitch there. Now I need to do 4 half double crochets, so I yarn over, grab that chain 6 loop, and then do 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, all into the same stitch there, 4, and then complete with white. And give pink a little tug there. You can cut off and then weave in, have all the tails and weave them in if you don't want to crochet over it, but this way is faster for me, so this is what I prefer. 5, 6, and 7. Complete it with pink, and let's do this one last time together. So 4 half double crochets, catching that chain 6 loop. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then complete the stitch with white. So I'm going to do that all the way around to make our little tulip flowers, and I'm going to do the rest of the bag off camera until we get to the handle portion. So let's meet back up for the handle. To do the handle for this bag, you need to chain 38, which I've already done, and then you need to mark halfway from the beginning of round to the other side of the basket, which is stitch 36. So I did that, and now I need to make sure that my chain is not twisted, and then I'm going to carefully remove my hook, insert my hook into that marked stitch, stitch 36, and then put that back on my hook and slip stitch. Now I need to chain 1, and that's going to secure it to this side of the bag, the chains to this side of the bag, and then using a Chanel stem or a pipe cleaner, this is what we are going to be working the Chanel stems around the base of the bag, the main body, the top of the main body, and then also through the handle portion. So let me show you how to do that. So I am going to waistcoat stitch into that first stitch right here, and I have my Chanel stem on the back side of the main body, just rolled over ever so slightly so that it's not sticking up right on top, and then I waistcoat stitch. Let me do it again just so I can secure this waistcoat stitch a little bit, or this pipe cleaner a little bit more. Going into the next one, and the next one, and you can see I'm just kind of working the pipe cleaner. It's at the top, but it's rolled slightly behind the main body there. I chose white pipe cleaners so that it blends more with this white yarn here. For the 2 smaller baskets, you will be crocheting over the pipe cleaner on round 2 of the handle, because round one is still the pink, and then round 2 we switch to the white, and so that's where, see, you can see the pipe cleaner is in there right now, but you can hardly see it because it blends so nicely with the white. So that's the only difference between the smaller baskets. For the handle portion is that we do the pipe cleaner round 2 crocheting over it instead of round 1 like we're doing for the bigger basket. But all the other steps in all the other steps in the smaller baskets are the same. They're just different. They're just smaller baskets. So it's a different stitch count, but it uses all the same techniques that we've done for the bigger basket, minus the decorative trim parts. So we aren't going to go over how to do the smaller baskets on camera because we've done that with the main basket. But anyway, I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of this side of the main body, and then let's do the handle portion together. I'm nearing the chains here, and so I wanted to do that together with you. But first I need to join 2 pipe cleaners together because I'm going to need it for the chain part. So I like to make an X, leaving a little bit of a tail there, twist a couple of times, and I found the best way is just to lay them flat and then crochet over it, but you can try to twist it around if you want, but I just found that this was the best way for me. And then I'm going to trim the tails if they peek through. Okay, so I have one more waistcoat stitch I need to do right there. And now I'm going to start working into these chains. So because this stitch has already been worked with the waistcoat stitch, I'm ignoring that. And then I'm going into this first chain right here and doing a single crochet
and then into the next stitch, or into the next chain, single crochet. I'm just doing that all the way across these chains here. And you can see how it's looking very good. So I'm going to continue doing this until I get to the other side, and I'm going to switch to D, color D, and then I'm going to show you how I do that, just to show you what the color looks like and how cute it is. So let's meet back up for that portion. I have one last chain here, so I'm going to stop when I have 2 loops on my hook, grab my new color here, and complete the chain or the single crochet. So I've got my new color here, and I'm ready to just start doing my single crochets around for this row. So I'm just going into each stitch and doing a single crochet, and this is adding a nice finishing detail to the top of our basket. So I'm going to do that all the way around for this half of the basket, and then I'm going to work into the handle as well with this color. And then after I do that and I slip stitch to join, then I'm just going to join on this side of the basket and do my round 1 waistcoat stitch and chain and single crochet into the chains, working over the chenille stems again, and then do color D again. One additional optional step is to thread a pipe cleaner starting about the stripes and thread it up through the handle, because we did do pipe cleaners along the edges of the handle, but if you want the handle to stand up better, we need additional vertical support. So I went ahead and did it on both sides here. And then another optional step is to put a pipe cleaner down along right above the grass and then at the base of the tulips to give it a little bit more structure down at the base there. So you can see it stands up a bit better. I haven't finished this part, so that's why it's not doing as well, but it stands up a bit better once you have those pipe cleaners in. So that is one additional step you can do. Hey friends, thanks for joining me on today's video. I have this video right here that I think you'll really enjoy, so go check it out and be sure to subscribe for more crochet and knit tutorials. My name is Rachel from Cozy Nooks Designs, and happy making!